Magazine.
Hi, this is Daniel Thornton-Smith, editor of Thrubb Magazine, the only publication that mainlines you oral crack and visual heroin drawn straight from the ephemeral vein of the arts world underground, all adding up to one glorious speedball jizzbomb of culture. For our inaugural podcast, we bring you an exclusive profile of the reclusive artist's reclusive artist, Reuben Bondek.
See the money I'm Reuben Bondek. I want to go home.
A man of one face, Bondek has been twisting the nipples of sonic latitude for nearly 40 years, ably accompanied by longtime engineer Marcus Heinrichsen.
I'm Marcus Heinrichsen. I'm the longtime engineer of Reuben Bondek. Yeah.
He was born in Houston, Texas, has released 58 albums, and seriously injured Elton John. On the eve of a no-profile, small-scale reissue of his classic Art Massacre trilogy, we deliver his life straight to your mind.
Oh no.
So, just who is Bondek? Forget everything you know about music. Bondek doesn't know anything about music, so neither should you. That's how you have to think when you listen to Reuben.
You see, the one thing people forget all the time about Bondek, right, is Bondek is love. He's just love. And violence. Plenty of violence, too.
No one had really thought that
Incredible stuff.
death screams would make valuable, potent music.
No,
But he proved us wrong, and that's what he's about.
it's an incredible, very funny record. You know, very funny record.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Listening to Reuben Bondek is a real experience. I mean, you're not going to hear this guy on the radio and just sit and listen along. I mean, you need to really sit down and open your mind, open that door. And if you do and let him in, he'll take what you think you know and make you not think what you know.
Bondek's music was a great help to me when I was growing up. His series of albums with no music on them meant a lot to me. Because no sound, it means so much sound.
Don't question me.
When I first heard Bondek, I thought I have to know this guy. His music and everything he does is shit. But that's why he's the greatest living songwriter of our time.
Reuben Bondek, the man's a cunt.
Despite what many fans believe, that Bondek came spontaneously into being in the year of the horse, he was born in Houston, Texas in 1954 to a family of orphans and was deported to Mississippi in 1955 for federal crimes. Thus began a life on the road, and at the beginning of his sonic quest, Bondek was a very different kind of artist to the one we now know and are wary of. The demi-semi-legendary Grassstone Records signed Bondek for a 6-album deal shortly after the self-financed Summer 71.
Summer 1971, we're all out in the sun. No one even knows the names. Ba 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 da 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 da. Ba 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 da 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 da.
The following year, Bondek met future engineer Marcus Heinrichsen, and so began a partnership of musical thaumaturgy and oral alchemy. Some might even say magic.
The first time I saw Marcus, I was struck by his beauty. He was the most disgusting man I had ever laid eyes on. Just a truly horrible being. And I instantly despised him. But that's why I loved him so much.
It's true. I had been living in rubbish bins on and off for 6 years. And I was even beginning to smell to myself.
He talked to me of music and beauty and joy, but he stank like shit.
Okay, Marcus, I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, I remember the first track we did together was Happy Coffin Celebration Blues.
Oh God, that was a fucking great song.
It took over 2 months to record, And for most of the time, you were in a cupboard. I don't know why.
There's a lonely man at the style of his mind. What questions does he ask of his God? I don't know. I really hope that he's alright and doesn't wanna die.
This new revelation caused Bondek to fire all 9 of his backing bands simultaneously, and throughout 1974 he concentrated his efforts on firing everyone he knew up till the point he met Marcus.
I had found my own path by then. I knew the way I wanted to go, and I just thought, I'm going to burn anyone who gets in my way. We got a little artistic community here, and I got to protect that with all my heart.
And with all your knives.
Yeah,
Definitely.
plenty of knives. You better believe I got knives.
The mid to late 70s reportedly marked a period in the wilderness for Bondek. Little is known about this time of Bondek's life, and he has always refused to elaborate on it, or even refute rumours.
You somewhat dropped off the map during the mid to late 70s, and you've never really conclusively answered the question of what happened. Do you think you are ready to divulge?
No!
1978 saw friction between Grasstone and Bondek as he deviated further from the mainstream. Due to a series of miscommunications through 1978, label head Davy Granite came to believe that Bondek had accidentally penned a track of great commercial appeal as a result of his increasingly extreme sonic experiments, and made hasty plans to release it as a single. The mistake Granite made, as so many have done, is to presume his source was right. Sadly for him, his source was Bondek.
Oh yes, that was Sundays Are Best Spent in Gravel, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
From what album?
That's from Take a Kingfisher for a Wife, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Great album.
He came specifically for Top of the Pops, or so the BBC thought. But he actually sent a Japanese prisoner of war who defecated live on stage.
Of course.
And that's why it's now all pre-recorded.
Yes,
ever since
yes. That was a watershed moment for him, Top of the Pops, and TV in particular. Nothing was ever live again. Ever. Not after that. No.
So, Bondek had left the mainstream for good, and it wasn't sorry to see him go. He marked this new freedom by splitting from Grasstone and emigrating to the UK, though it has been speculated that this move wasn't entirely his own decision. A new purpose had been forged, though, a pin-sharp focus on the future, which rendered everything it touched with stupefying profundity.
One of the most infamous things he did was he did the 10-city tour where he didn't even turn up.
Oh, a remarkable tour. I mean...
Remarkable tour. I mean, everyone says they were
I've
there.
still got the T-shirt.
Liar.
I remember all that stuff about Bondek not turning up to his own gigs. And I bought 26 pairs of tickets for one. You know, but I was never going to turn up. I was never going to turn up myself. Because, you know, if you're a true fan, you know what he's going to do before he does it. I had to sell my car, though.
I do remember the time that he tried to record a full orchestra atop a speeding train.
That didn't work.
No, definitely not.
Bondek was notorious for working his session musicians very, very hard indeed.
One example of this was relayed to us through outtakes that surfaced from the 49th LP, The Klaxon of Culture Must Always Be Manned, concerning his longtime session player Juan Peble.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
No, wait, can you start again, please?
Is that not...
Start again.
Okay.
No, and again, please start again.
From
the top. Not enough rejection. Try playing with more rejection.
More rejection.
Yeah. No! That's not right. There's too much fear in that G string. Start again from the top. Do it right! No! What the fuck are you doing?
What the hell's...
You're ruining everything I've been working on.
What did I do?
3 years went into this, goddamn.
going.
Don't you fucking walk away from me.
I'm going,
Marcus,
I'm going.
take us down to 40 foot below sea level.
Holy shit!
Now that's right, you come back.
But for every tip of the scales in favour of Bondek's splenetic muse, there was an arse-clenching lurch back towards the abyss. By 1985, Bondek was destitute.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard time for us, you know. We put a lot of our money into the projects that, you know, did not work. Like the underwater studio.
Yeah, I mean, that should have been such a great thing. It all went horribly wrong.
I mean, we lost so many engineers. Not from drowning or electrocution or stuff like that, but sharks. I don't know how they got in there. I mean, with 50, 60 miles inland.
I don't want to be known. I make these for me and no one else. And
It's true, you're very, very strong on that point. Even though we have no food for around 7 months of each year. You know, I ate birds all last year. Pigeons, gulls, they hurt. They hurt a lot. But I ate them. I caught them and I ate them. Someone has to provide. Someone has to provide.
This poverty only pushed Bondek into overdrive. By 1987, he had released over 42 albums, refused to release a further 22, and written 14 unperformed spasm dance movements. Autumn 87 saw the pace of work take its toll on Marcus, who repaired to a small bush outside of Didcot, citing Surreality exhaustion and a wish to sleep in a place more suited to human habitation. Bondek, however, pushed on, and in June 1988, the real world was once again forced to acknowledge his existence when he appeared on local news channels.
And emergency services were quickly on the scene. Leonard Perez reports.
It was a quiet morning, but it was never going to stay that way. A thunderous noise rang out across the neighborhood. Repetitive, nagging, insistent nagging, and repetitive. Local avant-garde musician Reuben Bondek produces the kind of music that makes the heart skip a beat, often literally. But when the sounds coming from his apartment began to resemble music, residents became worried and rang for help. When firemen broke into Bondek's apartment, they couldn't believe what they saw.
Yeah, well, once we got through the front door and got past the tinfoil, we followed the sound to a massive hole in the kitchen floor. Basically, this bloke had got himself stuck in his own reverb chamber and was playing Stones licks to attract attention. It took a while to get him out because when we threw down a rope ladder, he just screamed, "F*** you, ladders are corporate bullshit." Then he asked me to throw down a pork pie because he'd been surviving on bilge water and wood lice for 3 days. Never seen anything like it.
Why do you make me do this?
Walk away from there, please, sir.
Oh no, oh no.
As the 1990s dawned, Bondek had hit his stride with the seminal The Slag Chamber variants, leading the charge into the new decade. In parallel, a reassessment of Bondek as a formative influence on a new generation of experimental and mainstream musicians was underway, and Bondek's star rose gradually once again, but this time on his own terms. Following lengthy profiles in such publications as Rolling Stone and Time magazine throughout the early 90s, Bondek played a string of sellout arena shows, culminating in selling out Madison Square Gardens once over and sealing his infamy.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Jewish boy loves his car. Fuck you.
Very few are hardy enough to stomach Bondek's auditory roller coaster for long, and so it proved with the mainstream, which by 1997 was looking increasingly wary of his consistently erratic behaviour towards notions of popularity. The ties were newly severed clean with the triple album release of his infamous opus, Art Massacre, in 3 parts for stage, screen and auditorium performance. The most controversial track, Pop Cleansing Parts 32 through 67, named some of the most popular acts of the time and the innovative ways in which they could be summarily put to death.
Paul Daniels, Castration. John Major, Just Hanging. Liam Gallagher, Punchface Till Death. Kill the Transgressor.
Media uproar ensued, with the distinguished critic Sherbet Mausoleum declaring it a musical jihad and embarking on a lengthy campaign to have Bondek himself recognised as a radical Islamic state, or as Mausoleum ventured, a potentially explosive colony of beard. Mausoleum died a short time after and was buried in an unmarked grave.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty much the peak of Bondek's career, you know. He managed to get the whole entire world press off his back.
I mean, no one knew or gave a fuck who I was.
It was perfect.
I mean, that was always my dream.
Yeah.
I wanted to be not known, but to be art.
You wanted to be known, but not known.
Yeah, not known by the people who know. My biggest influence is probably nothing. I mean, that's where I get most of my influence from, mainly just nothing. I mean, if you got your influence from, say, the ground, the birds, and you'd just be recycling another man's feelings, so I get my feeling from nothing. And sometimes LSD.
At the tail end of the century, and after much pressure, Bondek finally agreed to collaborate on a number of tracks with one of his most prominent admirers, erstwhile Radiohead singer Thom Yorke. Yorke attested to working extremely hard towards securing this meeting of minds, going so far as to have several streets on Bondek's route to the studio cleared for fear of distraction and offensive manoeuvres towards passers-by. None of the tracks from the sessions were released, after several members of Yorke's family suffered embolisms upon listening to them. But we have an exclusive excerpt from the song Bockwurst Weasel in the Tar Black Pulpit, only for Thrubb Magazine acolytes. Brace your ears.
Thomas. Oh, well, I mean, Yorke, Thom Yorke was
one of the lucky ones, you know, as far as collaborations go.
Yes, that's quite right, because Michael Stipe from R.E.M. ran into bigger problems, didn't he?
Yes, yes, much bigger problems. I believe they were touring Monster.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Touring Monster. Stipe tried to make contact with Bondek and arrange a meeting. And I'm not entirely sure of the details. Some people say there was tension from the off. Some people say that they got on quite well. But I mean, the upshot of it was that Stipe was shot in the face by Bondek with an air gun.
And Stipe had to go for reconstructive surgery, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And the tour was cancelled
as
a result.
Meant he could never grow his hair back. You know, a star of his stature shooting Michael Stipe in the face.
It rocked the music world, the whole world round.
Absolutely, yes. But Michael Stipe was almost alarmingly understanding about it. He said, this is what Bondek does. He shoots people in the face, and that's it.
But he's always challenging like that, Reuben.
Yes.
That's what the mainstream can never understand.
It's definitely a man you have to know a lot about. Mostly when to run away.
The new millennium saw Bondek newly dissolute once again, and so firmly back in his default state of existence. The thorny point of contact with reality has not softened either.
Hi, this is Marcus. I've been recording Bondek for 3 hours now. We are out in the town, and we're about to go to a guitar shop. Should be interesting.
Shut up!
Okay, Reuben. Keep calm. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, hi, mate. What can I do you for?
I want a guitar.
I'll tell you, one of the most popular models we got is good old Fender Strat. And of course, you know, you get a tremolo arm with this, and as a special deal, we're chucking in this Marshall amp for the same price as the guitar.
Okay.
So, you know, I'll tell you what, I'll just juice this baby up and just, you know, show what it can do. Check this. See, check that out.
Okay.
Do you want to have a go yourself?
Yeah, give it to me.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
I hate it.
Right.
So what next for Bondek? He's done it all, but not all of it has done him. What next for the Enigma's enigma?
I think one of the things that we've found most artistically productive of late has been building our own instruments.
Yeah, this is something I especially like to do, you know, because I build things.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus recently built the Jarminophone.
Yeah, it was like a large tube about 2 meters long, which would funnel at the end, and the sound you would get would be very much like Medusa on the rack.
Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah, the Jarminophone was dismantled when one night Bondek got drunk on red wine and threw it out the window, and me as well. But he kept my jeans, so I couldn't get back into the flat, so I was arrested for indecent exposure.
You need to learn these lessons, Marcus.
And then there was the Polaris chime rack, where it was a set of 3 hanging chimes that were made out of the casings from Polaris ballistic missiles. And we got a friend at Lockheed Martin to make us this.
The concept was really not only would it be a beautiful instrument, but it would be a poignant statement about the state of the world.
Bondek was furious that none of them were live. You know, so they'd all been decommissioned.
I couldn't believe it.
There's so many people we wanted to get out of the way at that time.
And it was going to be a good way to do it.
Yeah, and then you went a bit crazy and tried to steal an exocet missile. You know.
Yeah, that was a bit of a dark period.
Yeah.
Let's leave the final word to Bondek himself. After all, it was he who built this sonic temple we flock to like acoustic lambs and amplified cattle. To all the sinners who can't, don't, or won't believe that Bondek is out there, he is. Waiting and watching you. Keep it thrubbing.
Could you clear up the mystery surrounding long-time saxophonist Jandek? By your own admission, none of your records have featured sax in any measure, so are you...
Oh, he's always invited to the sessions.
Incredible.
But he's not allowed to play.
Extraordinary.
I want the spirit of the saxophone on the record.
Amazing.
But not the actual sound.
Marvellous.
Okay, that's pretty much it. And now we're going to have for the scoop for Thrubb Magazine one of the unreleased tracks. So Reuben, if you could just say a few words and we shall play the track. But for now, this is Marcus Heinrichsson saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I wrote this one day after I drank some milk. Thanks for listening. Fuck you. The pickled egg makes me happy. The harsh red light of the dishwasher blinks that there is a salt imbalance, and I must correct this.
Magazine.